This is an ooh-wee production.
Welcome to the Real Talk Podcast, where the goal is to better our understanding through conversation. Communicating our feelings, our thoughts, or our opinions could be some of the easiest, or it could be some of the hardest things to do. But by communicating, we begin to form new perspectives. So throughout the various topics and opinions we discuss on our podcast, we hope that we can add value, understanding, and maybe a few laughs to your day. We appreciate you guys listening and enjoy the show.
Yeah, so I guess hey, we just gonna hop right on in there.
Let's go, man.
So I got a question for you, man. First and foremost, man, it's a lot of things going on in the world right now. As we speak,
Right.
Speaking of which, man, so last night I happened to go outside to take out the trash.
Yeah.
And in doing so, I'm on my porch. In the front yard, and on the sidewalk rather.
Right.
And man, this is what I hear.
Dang.
I don't even know how that even sound, but it scared me.
Yo, I feel you.
So immediately, man,
Right.
I'm looking around, you know what I'm saying? You get low, you looking around, right? And then after a while, it dawned on me, even though I was getting low looking around, I didn't think to run. Which now, as I, in hindsight, looking back on it, why should any of these things ever become normality? Like you hear that, for a fact that ain't fireworks.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But you pray to God nobody caught that fire.
Mm-hmm.
But then chances are, and this is the terrible thing that I'm about to say, if somebody did catch that fire, it probably wasn't even the person that it was intended for.
Right.
I mean, innocent bystanders got blazed.
Mm-hmm.
Man, now in life we are very much opinion based.
Right.
We can always talk about the mass or the masses. It's funny how you say mass. A mass is one thing, but masses is something totally different.
Mm-hmm.
It still talks about something being a rather large body of something, but masses, you can split that then.
Right.
You can have opposing sides now that can't see eye to eye. With that being said, I'm not trying to take this political.
No.
By no means am I trying to take it political, but you have it where you can't even get two sides to agree on whether or not, the gun laws are right or wrong, Now, hey, everybody feels how he or she chooses to feel, and that's their business.
Right.
But firearms, guns, I'm not going to talk primarily about guns.
Right.
But I do want to talk about something that a gun falls up under, and it's a creation. For some, it's a toy. For others, it's a means to get something that they want. And within that means, it's by any means necessary, by force. Right. And for some, it's to keep the peace, so to speak. So we'll go back and we just say it's a means. But again, I'm going to start and I'm going to call it, it's a tool. Mm-hmm. It's a creation. What I want to talk to you today about is, one of the things I want to talk to you about today is these creations that we have. It's a plethora of creations that man has made. It's a plethora. Is way more than a plethora of creations that God created.
Right.
But then man, being that man is created in God's image, man has also been able to go out and create things also. But now I look at the things that we've created and we continue to create. Is it truly, because we have created some great things now. We've invented some great things and we've created some great things. But when when you continue to look at, the direction that we could be headed in, that we are headed in, it makes you question a lot of things. Man is capable of a lot.
Right.
Man has dominion over a lot. So with that being said, if man doesn't truly think things through, then man can single-handedly be the cause of his own annihilation.
Nah, that's 100% true. 100% true, bro. I believe that.
I feel like, man, I feel like I just did a long-winded introduction to something, you know what I'm saying? I feel like we getting ready to head there today, man.
Let's go.
Ready to head there. So with that being said, I think the thing that gets me to, the seed, if we thinking about the seed, like right. what causes everything, the creation of this or that, let's talk about that. And for me, I believe when man really started to touch on technology, and again, certain tools that he began to use that in his or hers, from his or hers point of view, it helped out with, whatever his objective was, or whatever his, I don't even want to call it, I'm not going to call it that, but let's keep it with whatever his or her objective is. Right. Like at the end of the day, if one person invented something, but really the true meaning behind that particular invention was really, it wasn't really for the masses, so to speak, but it was really selfish. It was really just for this particular individual, and to help that individual to get to, whatever that, to help aid in that means, whatever that means was that person wanted to fulfill. That's why they created that particular object or tool, or, for them, they would call it a resource. Right. But now, fast forward, looking at everything, from, a holistic standpoint, you look at things such as guns, such as, let's just call it, like, even if it isn't a gun, let's talk about something such as steroids, even, right. Or whatever, something that was instant, something that was created to be instant, that's going to grant you an instant result to an issue that you have, an
enhancement.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. And it continues to just build. And then all of a sudden from those seeds, then all of a sudden we continue to just rise high. And then all of a sudden we get, this large takeover of technology. And now, although we've talked about guns, we've talked about steroid use, we've talked about whatever you can think of, some will say, hey, I have no problem with it. Others will say, no, it's a big problem with it. You know what I'm saying? But then you start talking about the technology, and the same thing. I think I came across something that stated that at the research, that was on the radio today, actually. Yeah. At the research, it was stated that it's actually good for you to have access to the internet, to being online. That's actually it. Scientifically, it states, like, statistically, it's actually good for you.
I mean, that do sound crazy. You know what I'm saying?
It does, but then I guess when it does grant some with the, the knowledge, information, to actually better oneself or to be motivated. But again, that's one side. Yeah. And then you gotta tell both sides,
You know what I'm saying? Just like with cars though, like, you know what I mean? You got people that's like, use cars transportation, and then just max it out and just ramming people. You feel me?
Exactly.
Just going through buildings
as a means to get faster. Like, really and truly, you got a speed limit for a reason.
How do you how can you regulate that though? You know what I'm saying? Like, think about it. Like, even forks, spoons, knives. It's like those are advanced tools of technology. But then you got one side that's just going.
Use it how it's supposed to be used.
Yeah. Not necessarily even intentional sometimes. It's just like, let me just stick this in here. And it's like it's the curiosity like, of what all else they can do with it. Right. Yeah. So you're gonna take it in every single level. You know what I'm saying? Something as simple as stream. You feel me? It's like that's an advanced level of technology. At one point we didn't have that. But then it's like you can take it either way.
So interesting. So with technology, what about okay, so the internet, we just talked about that, like being able to go online.
Right.
What about the black market?
Black market, yeah. But sometimes it serves an AIDS because I think in China, certain things on the internet is banned. So the black market allows for them to get information that they wouldn't otherwise have
the means to be able to get. Yeah, but then we also know what all else is on there too.
Right.
Or do we really know? But we've heard.
Yeah, right. Because I ain't never been on it. You know what I'm saying? But I heard.
I do know someone that was on it.
Same. And they always
and somebody said
drugs,
that it terrified them.
Yeah, some wild stuff on there.
Wide open. Yeah, too much freedom.
Anything you can think of, probably.
So interesting. So with that, the aim is always to be free. Mm-hmm. But when you are truly too free,
right?
Is that good?
Well, I don't think being free, like being all the way open and have access to anything is freedom at all. You know what I'm saying?
When you hear the term wide open,
right?
Does that even sound good to you?
No.
But they wide open.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, but they know it's wide open. You know what I'm saying? Anytime you even hear that,
it sounds kind of crazy.
Little boy, yeah. But I'm telling you, boy, that boy can sniff a cue ball. Boy, that boy knows wide open. That don't sound becoming.
Nah, you're right though. You're right. I guess the context though. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, you know what I mean. Somebody be like, "Yo, bro, he running it up over there, bro. He maxing them out." Then it's like, "Hey, that's keep it coming." Yeah, like, you feel me?
Like, yeah, but
that is true though, man. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like you got the two dynamics. What would you say is what would you say a benefit and a detriment would be then with the technologies?
Okay, so getting to that. Okay, now I'm gonna go back to how this whole thing started, like from last night,
right? With
that gunfire. You know, I got to thinking. Okay, now what I was hearing, the way I was hearing it, that sounded like something that need to be on a wall. You know what I'm saying? That sounded like that would be more accepted in a time of war.
Yeah,
but not even to process what I was hearing, and that's on the streets.
Right. I feel what you're saying. It was automatic.
Bruh, that's on the streets, you know? And it's just like, man, like...
Even advancements in that, like guns and weapons, man.
Yeah, like
it is like, yo, that's dope to a certain extent. Then it's like you said, they got that 50 yards from you could get that 50 yards from a daycare. You know what I'm saying? Like...
That's or they let in a ring 50 yards.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, yo, that could just happen anywhere. Everybody can have access to that.
So, okay.
Not everybody, but they try to regulate it. But still, like you said, a black market. I mean, black market,
anywhere,
black web,
really.
Dark web.
Like,
you can get anything that you really...
Money can get you stuff.
Right. Access.
Money is the access.
Mm-hmm.
So, now, all right. So, you were in the military.
Right. Now they got some.
Now I'm gonna just ask you.
Talking about the streets, but they got some stuff.
I'm gonna just ask you a series of questions, and I want you to be real and just answer them to the best of your ability. I ain't tapping too deep into no. You know, I'm just asking questions now. To utilize weaponry, were you or were you not trained?
Yeah, you gotta be trained. I think you gotta have a basic training of this.
Next question. Excellent answer. Next question for you. Okay, in your training,
right,
on how to utilize this weaponry, by any, let me ask you this here. In the midst of your training, did you ever find it kind of complicated to use any of this weaponry?
Nah.
It was never complicated.
Just kind of like aim and shoot.
Aim and shoot. So it's
Now it is some, you know what I'm saying, technique to it.
Okay, so it's a technique to it.
But it's not, I wouldn't say it's complicated.
Okay.
You know,
so,
it comes harder or easier to others. Like, you know what I'm saying? Depending on like, some people grew up shooting and some people didn't.
Okay.
So it's like, you need that type of training before you just pick it up. If you never shot a gun before, if you don't have a lot of experience with shooting.
So
I think you need, because they had continuing training.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying?
So technique. One thing you said, technique. It took technique. It took training.
Right.
So the same can be said about technology, right? It'll take certain levels of technique, certain levels of training. I want you to see where I'm going at with this.
Right.
So could you just, you know what I'm saying, up and out of the bed, you know what I'm saying, and hey, I'm going to war today, and I'm about to, you know, I'm about to let rounds go and defeat everything in front of me.
I don't think that would be.
Okay, so you don't think.
Right.
So the next question I have for you is this here. Now we're talking about something. I'm asking you questions from the mindset of you being sober minded.
Right.
Now,
okay.
Let's put you drunk now. You drunk or you high, whatever. Now I give you this weapon.
Yeah.
And really and truly, you really might just be holding it for the first time.
Right.
You just happen to good money got you something, a resource. You got the resource. Now you out of your mind on the low. But you possess this weapon.
Right.
And now you up under the influence of emotion and drugs.
Yeah.
How does that bode?
Man, you know what I'm saying? I don't think that's gonna turn out a lot of accidents. I would say that it would be a higher level of an accident happening.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Or something unwanted happening.
Some casualties maybe.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, if you lit, hey, it's casualties at war.
You probably ain't even think about that. You like, cause when you holding something like a shotgun or if you holding like an AR, you know what I'm saying, super automatic.
Are they
gun,
heavy?
Some of them are, but it's just like, it's powerful. You know what I'm saying? Like,
It's
you
powerful.
like, whoa, you know, you feel like Rambo.
Okay, so
based off the movies and stuff,
cool.
you like, yo, I feel like Rambo in this mug.
So it's not heavy, you said.
Nah, some of them.
We
We still talking about the military, or what we talking about?
Any weapon, like most of the weapons, like the guns.
The
and
ones
stuff.
you could get on the streets, probably not. It probably ain't that heavy.
So
it's
you
probably
said-
like light, easy to carry, stuff like that.
Okay, so you said probably. I heard probable or probably. You
Right.
said so. All right. You said power though. Some of them are packing a punch.
Oh yeah.
So number one, if something packing a punch and you're not even used to what it is you got.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That them accidents go up, man. And it's like a lot of people don't have training. A lot of people. No, I wouldn't say a lot of people, bro, because it's like guns are super accessible.
Excuse me.
Nah, you good. Guns are super accessible, but I think that a lot of these these accidents you spoke of in the beginning of the conversation, where you get casualties, you get people that get hit. You know what I'm saying? I don't think necessarily that training coming into play, or you don't have enough training, right? Now think about it though, like you can never be super trained depending on the situation. Let's just say I'm walking in my front door and it's at nighttime, somebody ran up on me. It's like, no matter how good of training you got, you're just trying to survive at that point. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, those come into play. I do think you necessary. I do think you should, if you tote a gun, if you have a gun, if you need it for protection. Now we got this Georgia law where we got an open carry state. I don't even think you need a license anymore to get a gun, like a concealed carry license. So it's like, if you know you feel that type of way that you want to take a gun, at least take one class. You know what I'm saying? At least get the general knowledge of what's going on, because you're less likely to hurt yourself or somebody else. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I think that's what the issue is. Like, people is like, yo, if you're going to use it for protection, how come it ain't protecting? You feel me? How come it's taking out somebody who don't need, like, who, you know what I mean? It ain't even what you was intended for.
You know, my thing is, I'm going to say this one last thing about guns and then we can move past it.
Yeah.
But I think we should all examine the reasoning behind getting a gun.
Right. Yeah,
if somebody's first thought is, I'm going to get a gun. All right, let's pause this. Now let's rewind a little bit. Did you feel that way yesterday? Did you feel this way last week? A lot of times it's a cause and effect.
Right.
It's a reason why you feel like you need to get a gun. And a lot of times it's because, behind every action there's a reaction. So if something happened to your property, maybe, you feel like, your stuff was vandalized, whatever. Now you see it as a need, because, man, this would have never happened if I had a gun. But okay, now let's unpause it. Now let's fast forward. Let's say you do have a gun and it happens. And now, all before you was wishing, I wish I would have caught him. Mm-hmm. Now you catch this person. Now it just became real life.
Real life, man.
Real life.
Real life.
Now it's not a matter of I wish. Now you there and you in the moment. Yeah. So you got the gun. What you choose to do? You caught him red-handed, right? So what you gonna do? What you gonna do? Let's substitute it. It ain't even a him. It's a her now.
Yeah.
You caught her. And you looking at her, you could tell she not right. You could tell she on drugs. But now you was wishing for this moment all along. Mm-hmm. But this moment looks totally different. The scenario is different now. You thought it was going to be a guy. It's a female. You thought you had all of the answers when you had the power because you got the gun. Yeah, man. Now what you going to do with it, though?
A lot of times, though, people just use the gun for, like, show. Like, I would say, like, I would think people would just bring it into the equation just for, like, a show of force. You know what I mean? They don't necessarily want to go in and pop somebody. It's just like, yeah, let me just show this because, you know what I mean? They gonna back off.
You absolutely right until you meet the person that won't back off.
That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Or they got one bigger than yours.
That or one person actually got hell in their heart and they ready. They whole world can blaze for they care. Mm-hmm. And the thing about them, now they gonna test your manhood since you pull it on them. Yeah. You got it, and they might even step in the direction of it and put it right to their temple. Yeah. Now pull the trigger.
Nah. Yo, I was following you, bro. You wild.
That's what they own. They want you to.
You had me, yeah. You coming like, hold up. What? You wild for that.
By the look on your face, man. But no, like that's what some people live for that moment. And some people think they want that moment until that moment arrives. Then all of a sudden, what you gonna do? Because now you in a dire situation now.
Hey, yeah. I mean, it could turn like that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I would say this too, though. These people where they like, let's get rid of guns. I don't think that's the answer either.
I never said that either. I never said that. But all I'm trying to do is just spearhead a conversation in which, we having a thought-provoking conversation about, technology. Mm-hmm. And not only that, just, these tools, these resources we got now in place, that I look at a gun as a form of technology as well.
So, all right, let me ask you this, right? We talking about regulating and regulations and things like that and like stipulations to have a gun. What about all technology? So like, okay, we're going to do it on a gun.
No,
let's do it on internet. Bro, let's regulate that.
I feel strongly about what I'm about to say, man. I feel like it's going to get to a point in which that should happen. I feel like, honestly, we might already be at a point in which it should have already happened. Right. Like back in the day, TV used to have a curfew. You used to have a curfew to TV. Mm-hmm. TV, after a certain point, TV would go off. TV never goes off now. Yeah. Never goes out. And, the elders back in the day used to call it the one-eyed devil. There was a reason why they called it that. And it might not be an evident reason for a lot of people, but to be real with you, confusion, just mass confusion, chaos, anarchy, all that stuff is being introduced into people's homes now, courtesy of TV, courtesy of a phone, courtesy of whatever you want to put your eyes on, you can put your eyes on with ease these days.
Now let me ask you this. Go ahead. We talking about the streams, like anarchy, like you said, chaos, all this, but what about the TV shows that have the family sitting around the table, sitting around the living room, and we just enjoying this day. We watching home videos. We watching this show that making us laugh.
So let me ask you a question. And I'm glad you came to that point because I love this conversation. I'm loving this right now. I'm glad you asked that because you're talking about the family aspect. Mm-hmm. Now let me stop and ask you a question. Honestly, in today's generation, how many families are still doing that stuff?
I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of families doing that.
I'm pretty sure it's not a lot. Still
you don't
doing
think it's
that.
a lot?
I'm positive.
But we talking about extremes because you going and saying
what
like,
I'm talking about is now when I say that, I say it's not a lot of families still doing that. Understand where I'm coming from. I'm talking about if you looked at it, like statistically, if you looked at from the 60s to the 70s to the 80s, 90s to now, first of all, the family dynamic isn't even the same no more.
Right.
A lot of times you have a lot of men that's absent in that whole picture. So automatically, that right there creates a shift. You know what I'm saying? A paradigm shift, so to speak. And like the family aspect isn't even that anymore. Now you got, if you have a son, you have a daughter. If that son is a teenager, not saying all households, but most of them, especially in the colored household, a lot of times, like that son, he may not even be there.
What about? All right, let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
Do you and family watch TV together?
Certain things we do.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So then I'm like, yo, there we go.
But see, what I'm saying is, okay, to me, it's no different than this here.
What's up?
When I'm talking about watching TV together, I'm talking about we'll flip it. Families coming together for dinner time. Everybody's at the dinner table eating together at the same time.
Nah,
that's
I don't think
rare.
That. You know what I'm saying?
That's rare nowadays.
No. Yeah. What about the people that say this is a great thing and this is adding value to my family and this is adding value to my life and things like that?
No, I mean, to be real with you, what you talking about, like they're saying is adding value to their life. What are we talking about now?
The TV. Oh, the technology. I guess what's going on.
So
technology. We're talking about the technology. Yeah, the TV and
technology.
Stuff. Yeah.
All right. So that's cool.
Right.
That's cool. And then I would turn around and now I would, okay, so, and not that I'm trying to, fine comb through, I guess I am. But no, like seriously, when you start to really like think about things, you got to really look at both sides.
Right.
And yeah, you can easily say that, but then I guarantee you for the individual that says that, something else in the family is lacking. Something else, because for the amount of time that you spending, and you spending and you taking into like watching TV or on your phone, I see it too often. Like, for example, you could be on a date with your girl, right? And then you just happen to look around. You just look around a restaurant. How many people actually had their phones in their hands? They at the
on the table.
Yeah, and it's like, bro, like conversation, is absent because they doing this. Like how I'm looking at you, you looking at me right now. Let's just say your girl, sitting across from you, and now both of y'all at a dinner table, but y'all doing this here.
Right. Yeah. I feel you on that. Or like, look at this,
then all of a sudden, or let's say one actually don't even have theirs, but the waiter then walked in, the other one.
Right.
And then the waiter, so what would you like to eat? You didn't order your food in.
That's true. Or either this, when people like we was talking about like everybody getting outed on the internet, and then that's contributing to, you know what I'm saying, is the implementation of the phone with video and everything like that. When that happened, the gun crimes go up. You know what I'm saying? I wonder what those statistics look like, because it's like, think about it. You get punched in the face back when we was kids and stuff.
It's multiple forms of bullying too. So somebody could take that as somebody bullying them. It's just so many perceptions. It goes in many different directions.
Nah, I get what you're saying though. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even with technology and stuff, like, it's great, but it does have its downsides.
Yeah, my biggest thing is it's taking us away from what matters the most.
Which is what?
And what I'm talking about is time. When you look at it, bro, you can't get time back.
Right.
And a lot of time we get lost. We get lost in technology, the wave of technology, or this time period, this age of technology. We lost in it. And like, you think about it, man, when I would like to see what the brain looks like when somebody is under the influence of technology versus when they're up under the influence of a substance. And I guarantee you'll probably see a lot of similarities there.
Nah, I heard about like the dopamine and things like that, dopamine releases and stuff like that.
Bro, people get excited about, Like, look at the children today, man. The children, you might take their phone from them and say you get it after school.
Right.
And it's like they come home and immediately, or the game system, whatever. Like that's what people like, they become zombies because they get into the game. And then all of a sudden their body telling them that they're hungry, giving off the natural, tendencies of letting you know I'm hungry, your stomach growling, all that. And you sitting right there, you didn't heard the child stomach growl, you hungry? No, I'm good. And they still playing the game. And then attitude, everything, man, they become temperamental because
like, turn off the game real quick. Come in here.
All that.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be ready to end it all. They done lost their mind. They ready for an L.
Yeah.
You know
I was the same one. Got to try to beat this level, man. Come on.
But that's not healthy. That's not healthy.
It's gonna be healthy once I beat it.
And then the moment you turn it off, right? Or the moment a parent comes in and starts parenting, right, and tell them, that's it, shut it down. Oh, what is it? All that. Then all of a sudden, right, the moment after they then came down off their little, I don't even know what that is. It's like, bro, that's again just like snatching a drug addict away from them drugs. And then, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, for real, I'm dead serious. Then all of a sudden, you ain't got them off a little while and now they functioning like a regular a human being again, right? Then all of a sudden, what the first thing? Well, I'm hungry. Oh, now you hungry? Your stomach been growling 3 hours ago. But you see,
oh, that's funny.
But I'm saying
it's funny because it making sense. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And then, like, I think
when games came out. But let me ask you this, man. Like, don't you think technology is great though?
Of course.
Don't you think it's it's technology? Benefit? Like, think about it.
Technology has definitely opened the doors for a lot of things that would not have even been obtainable back then.
Let me, all right, I would say this. I heard this analogy. Seth Rogen was talking about something else, but I'm gonna use it with this. Like shoes. Like shoes are not necessary, but they do make life better. You know what I'm saying? So
who wants to walk on rocks?
But you can. So it's like, think about it with technology. Like, we can live without technology, but don't it make life better? You know what I'm saying?
It makes it easier.
Right.
I can't argue and say it makes it better because, again, better becomes perception based. Because you got individuals that some might say, hey, they still in the Stone Age. But again, they still making it through. But let them first moment something happens in this world in which what happened when what's it called? Facebook shut down.
Facebook shut down.
Yeah, Facebook shut down a few times now, and people flipped.
Yeah.
But even now, I was going to take it there too. Like with what is it called? The COVID. The same thing. Or let something happen in which now we cannot be dependent on technology.
Right.
It's often said, the Lord giveth, the Lord taketh. What if he decided to take that from us? How would we function?
Now you got the two parallels of like digital skills and then you got physical skills. Like,
that's my point. That's what I'm trying to get to now, is that what I'm saying is, I really do feel like as a society where I feel we are failing at now is the fact that our the actual standard way of living that we've always upheld, I feel like now that's taking a plunge.
A backseat?
Yes, it is. And I feel like, to be honest with you, man, you got a lot of these kids, man, and you ask them simple question about telling time. You ask them the write the name, cursive, stuff like, not saying that that's truly important, but if, a lot of kids don't know how to do that stuff anymore. Right. Because now they got a digital watch that's going to just tell them anyways. Yeah. They used to just looking down at it and seeing it. You ask them, how to, break a problem down and stuff like that. They're going straight to the calculator. They don't know how to, put it up and actually do the work. Because that, my friend, I feel what's missing in today's generation. It's the work ethic, all of that. That's why it gets, in life, man, when things are easy, it's easy. Mm-hmm. It's easy to continue because it's easy. It's pretty much a given, But the moment something get hard, what becomes easy to the people is quitting. Right. Because they don't want to do the work. And that's what I'm saying, man. In this age, it's like, I'm seeing that, like the physical, that's why, like, before we got on air, we was talking about, you have let's just say, you know, the peak athletes of today, right? And the technology that they have to reach these peak levels versus the peak athletes of yesteryear. And even if they're, you know, even if the means of them going about, you know, reaching these peak levels weren't, you know, as you know, hey, state of the art as it is today. I would love to actually see, and I'm talking about like really putting these athletes, you know, like putting them through the ringer to really like see what levels they excel at versus the other, or what levels they actually show a tendency to, you know, like really be inferior to the other. And I believe in one of those areas. Now, I believe one thing about it, I believe like today's athlete, like the looks, I feel like the aesthetics would definitely sit in the favor of today's athletes. But when you're talking about like actual things that can't really necessarily be measured by looks or aesthetics or, you know, oftentimes even the makeup a lot of time. Now you have to start, you know, when you start talking about, you know, like the heart of a champion, you know, I would love to, you measure this one versus this one. And I guarantee you a lot of times it's coming from over here because they used to it. They used to be, you know, getting it out the mud. You know, they used to rusty equipment maybe. They used to, you know what I'm saying, being in the gym that smelled like whatever. But again, they, you know, they yearn to be in that gym because they know, hey, if I got someplace I'm trying to be, and by all means, that I'm going to do what I need to do to get to that point.
Right.
Then over here, you know, they might not even want to step foot in the gym if it don't even look. Man, I see a speck on the ground. I ain't working out today.
I feel you.
You know?
All right. So like, let's take it like this. I get what you're saying as far as like maybe like the skill set. I don't think is what do you say to the notion that is enhancement? Like it's just enhancing what was already there. You know what I'm saying? Or
I mean,
let me go here. Like the work ethic may not be there, but we can get it faster now. Like, yes, I had to work X amount of whatever, but now I could do it a little bit faster and it's enhanced. Or again, you know what I'm saying?
Now you speaking to the makeup of this generation. Instant gratification. Instant never lasts because it was programmed to only be for this moment.
Right.
But if you look over, if something's built to last, then that's what it is. It's going to be here because it's built to last. You used to have cars built to last versus cars today that pretty much you get in one accident, that's you know what I'm saying? On to the next. You know,
I agree with you though, because I feel like the skill set today is going more digital. But I think a lot of our world is taking a back seat to like the manual labor type jobs. And not like manual labor, people think of like, you know what I'm saying, whatever. But like the architects, the mechanics, the like the people that's gonna make all this stuff that we get from
that
technology
make things go.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Those are behind the scene jobs that now people are not highlighting as much. But I think it goes like this. You know what I'm saying? Because back in the day, the blue collar, the manual labor person was on, you know what I'm saying? Hey, they was doing their thing. They was making good money, working in the factories, doing all their things. Now it's going up towards technology. And I think it's just like a cyclical cycle.
And you're right. And I can't deny that, right? But see, my rebuttal would always be this here. Yeah, granted, yeah, we talking about like we talking about technology and, you know, the turn of this generation, you know, being more technological, but we cannot forget who created the technology in the first place. And that's the thing. My thing is we can never become so lazy-minded to the point to where we forget, okay, at the end of the day, we created something. We got to continue to train our brain. We got to continue to just keep, you know, applying our muscles. We got to keep building our muscles because at the end of the day, this is just how it always happens.
Right.
The moment we take a couple of steps backward and we just take our hands off the wheel, then guess what? The car gonna do what it do.
Yeah.
The moment we take our hands off the wheel, the car gonna do what it do.
Yeah. That's
now
cool.
Here it is. You done had your foot on the gas. You know, you doing over 100, and you decide I'm gonna take my hands off the wheel now. Baby, hey, we here.
Yeah.
What happens the moment you take your hands off the wheel?
I can do something else.
No. What happened to the car?
Hey,
The
you
moment
feel me?
you
I
check
can do
your
something else.
if
I
you-
can send this text. I could be typing on my computer, doing my laptop joint, talking to my wife, my kids.
Okay, so
you know what I'm saying? Let
okay.
the car do its thing. Hey man, take me over here.
let's just say that the car malfunctions.
That's gonna happen.
Okay, it's
That's
going to
happen. Just like with the
that's going to happen.
back in the day. You know what I'm saying? You working hard, you doing your thing. Now your knee blew out. Now you can't do nothing.
But guess what?
Now
At least
we
at the
got
end-
physical therapy. We got
Let's talk. No, we're going to talk about this. So okay, that happens, and you done been putting in a hard work. But at the end of the day, you know at least the thing that's the thing that's going to comfort you and call, you know. And I know how this is going to sound, but this is me. I will rather this.
What's up?
Understand that if God forbid, if I got hurt doing something that I love to do, at least I knew that I was out there actually being physical, and it happened with me doing something that I love to do on a physical level.
Right.
I feel like it's unforgiving to be in a car,
Mm-hmm.
to be in a car, and now you didn't trust this car with your life.
Right.
And people don't even trust God with their life. But you in this car, you just, again, wide open.
Right.
You doing God knows whatever in the car. You sitting around there, you reading a book, you didn't put the book down, or better, you might still be holding the book and drinking coffee at the same time, letting the car do what it do. And then the car going over 100 miles per hour, and then it just loses, you know.
Right.
Like,
What about fail safes though? You know what I'm saying? Like what about, you know what I'm saying? Let me think. I agree with you though. I can't, cause I was trying to find a rebuttal.
I'm just trying.
But you're right though. Like I think too. You know what I'm saying? It
Now-
should be like some stipulations. But I
That's
think
what I'm
that,
saying.
I think it is though.
But
it ain't. It
what
ain't
I'm
just
saying,
like.
but
Well, you
okay,
can just do that.
It may be now,
Right.
It may be now, but I'm telling you, the way things are going, what happens is, it's just like a child, man.
Mm-hmm.
So the more you allow a child to get away with when
Right.
they're younger, the more that they grow. So with space and time,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we allow technology to get away with a lot of stuff. But it's because we groom it to do these things.
Right.
I think it'd be dope if, it starts off very small. Something such as autopilot.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, that's pretty dope. I could just, I could just kind of chill for a moment. You know what I'm saying? Hey, after all, I'm in my hands kind of locking up or whatever, that's kind of, but let me get back on the steering wheel. It starts off like that. Then all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to test it today. I'm going to see what this car can really do.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it surprises you. It's through the sheer moment of surprise that now in the back of your mind, you got a mulligan that you can always, you know what? I gotta take that. I really don't feel like, man, going out of town this weekend, but I gotta go. I didn't get no sleep last night. You got that mulligan in the back of your mind. Now I did test this before, man. And it's solid. It's a solid theory. I feel like I could go ahead. I drive the first, whatever. But the last 20 minutes, I let the car have it. That could be your life.
I think. No, you're right. I think it's far-fetched to where we get completely autonomous cars. And you're right. I don't think we should take our hands off the
proverbial wheel.
Right.
But,
not yet. But
listen to what you said.
But
Listen to what you said.
But just
not
like
yet.
But think about your phone though. They like when it first came out, it's like you putting up this radioactive thing to your face and you putting your pictures in there. Well, I want my physical pictures. What if I lose my phone? But now look at it now.
Look,
we each got one in our pocket.
And again,
we like, I'd rather do that than take around the whole album.
And again, I've fallen victim to this.
Right.
What was my whole argument from the start?
What's up?
We start to get it to the point to where it's acceptable.
Right.
Now, you know what I'm saying? Like, if we had this conversation 20-something years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and now here it is, man, we had photo albums. We had all this other. What I'm saying is, bro, look at how much we are dependent on technology.
Right.
To store our information, to store our lives.
Now, I will say, like, think about the extreme side of that, which is, let's just say, martial law or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, hey, your car fuel like automatic. You can't even drive off now. It's just automatically get behind the police car and just follow it to the station. It's like you can't do nothing.
Dude, you talking about get behind it? Hey, it just go ahead and take you there. The police go and get somebody else.
You got a warrant out. Now you just
and hold you there until they get there.
The door is locked. You can't get out.
But like I'm saying,
but yeah, that's the high end. But I get what you're saying.
What I'm saying, bro, like we got to be careful because what makes us so unique as a species is the ability that we have to think. God gave us the freedom to think. Mm-hmm. Now, with that being said, we have to be careful because a lot of times when we go into this God complexity and we start creating things, a lot of times, again, it starts off cute. It starts off innocent. But a lot of times we can be creating the cancer that ultimately would take us out of here.
If we're not careful. True, yeah. I think we
and that's all I'm on. So again, like the things that I do have an appreciation for, and I never thought I would when I was actually living in this particular window in time, is like, writing letters, man. I remember the first time that I remember when I was taught how to write letters. Mm-hmm. Like, man, ain't nobody trying to do all this, man. This guy here stupid. Then I remember the day that flipped. I remember, man, I used to write this young female, man, that I was into, man. At the time we both were young. And she lived, it was in middle school. She lived somewhere else. Like she lived on the outskirts of town. So for me, like this was before like phones and, like we giving out phone numbers like today. That stuff is, that's back then, in middle school, bro, like you call her house if you want to, man. That's not her phone. That's her parents' phone.
Right.
And the last thing her parents want to hear is some, some snotty nosed punk man calling. They talking about, can they talk to, so-and-so. Nah, they don't want to hear none of that. So what it is, I remember the first time, man. So she gave me her address. Of course, he ain't had no Uber, none of that be trying to catch no ride over there, nothing like that. But sure enough, I could utilize this, I can utilize this resource I got, man, that I learned. That's a letter. I wrote a letter, man. And I remember like how I got butterflies in my stomach because for me, in my mind, at a young age, bro, like it was a significant amount of distance between us. But just from this resource of being able to write,
right,
I found that to be so powerful, to be able to write a letter. And all I need to do was just put a stamp on it and make sure the address was correct and it was going to get there. And that goes back to like a letter. I'm talking about a letter now. Think about back in the days. I'm talking way back when people used to depend on, they'll write a letter and a bird to take it to where it need to go. Now we talking about, I'm tripping on technology, but now we talking about a living creature,
right,
that God would allow to take it to somebody.
Nah, I think I agree with you on the skill set. Like I think we shouldn't allow technology to take away our skills.
And that's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean? And I think that's
happening.
what people are the argument is like, hey, we as humans have skills, and once we get objects to do, once we get, you know what I'm saying, Internet of objects to do the skills that we should be doing to stay alive, to stay in motion,
to stay sharp.
Right. I think then we on the decline at that point. But I don't think it'll never get to that point.
Bruh, I'm already seeing it.
It would never get to that point.
I'm already seeing it. And I would never say never. That's one thing I learned in my life. I never say never.
No. What I'm saying is it would never get to the point to where humans are totally what is it called? Unuseful. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like we're gonna have people that we're gonna have people like this, factions like this, to where just like you got people that's pro, you got states like that. It's no different than states. Like you got California that's super liberal, you got Texas that's super conservative. You know what I mean? You got other states that's blah blah blah. So it's like you would never be able to get a general consensus of just like, yo, let's just take out the skill sets.
Okay.
Allow the skill sets to be taken. Just like with guns. Think about just a simple act of people saying, let's take our guns away. People was ready to storm whatever. That would never happen.
But again, the key is this here. The moment you tell a person The moment you tell a person that they can't do something, naturally they gonna buck against that.
Right.
That's how you get it clear. You don't tell them. Like, you don't tell them that they can't write a letter.
I see
no
what
more.
you're saying.
You
just
don't tell
now. I agree with the technology part on that, because it's like, think about what you're agreeing to. Like,
Text
now you go
messaging.
to the websites or whatever you're going to, and you just automatic, or you download the app, you automatically accept.
Email. Listen to it.
Yeah.
We doing away with the actual mail for a lot of people. And in the place, we have email, we have text messages,
Right.
We have stuff like that. So now it's doing what it used, what used to be done, but it's just in a different manner. So eventually, I pray not, but eventually it looks like, letters, like, the thing that's keeping letters around is it's a generation that still believes in that.
Right.
And I love that. I love that.
I don't think it'll never be, because people say the same thing about that. Like, think about when computers came out. I think the ideal, it makes it seem that way, but I don't think it'll never get to that point, because it's like people said the same thing in the 2000s about the computers and stuff. Like, we're gonna have flying cars and this like that, and it's like it takes a while for us to get there. You know what I'm saying? And it's like technology. Humans still play a huge factor in technology. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
I just can't never, based off of like, just looking back on it, just like thinking like, okay, these advances, photo cameras, phones, microwaves, blah, 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 delivery. You know what I mean? It's like, I think it's just additions to humans. I don't think it'll replace our completely skill set.
What I'm saying is this here, bro. Like, you think about it. Although our cars, the majority, like,
I might get one though. I might get one of them self-driving. Come on, man. The self-driving car, bro. You could drive across. What's the farthest your family live? What state?
Look, yeah. You can stop asking me that. I don't trust it.
Bro. How you gonna get around?
Bro, again.
If somebody come pick you up, like, yo, my car broke down. My manual self-driving car breaks down. Let me ask you a question. Come pick me up in your self-driving car.
Let me ask you a question.
Matter of fact, don't even come. Just send it over here. I just ride in the passenger seat.
Do they or do they not still have flip phones?
They do.
All right, then I'm done with it. I'm done.
All right. Yeah, we could really talk about this for hours though.
But like,
you know
for
what
real,
I'm saying?
like, this is,
we go back and forth for hours.
This is the conversations here. Like, podcasts were made for. Because it's like, bro, especially with two different thinking individuals, it's like, bro, like, yeah.
You go back for hours.
Yeah.
Man.
But it's like, but like, going back to like trying to bring this thing on around and put a bow on it. It's like, it's just, for me, it's just like, okay, I know you probably like all this thinking like that you're doing, man, like, like the things that's going on in the world right now. I told you one thing that started all this was, the gun, the sounds of that gun last night. Not only that, movies, art mimics reality, right? So it's a movie that's out that just came out last weekend, Planet of the Apes. Have you seen any of them?
I did, man. I saw. I think it was a Rise of the Planet of the Apes. That's when.
I've been wrong.
That's when dude Caesar first got injected with it. His mom died.
Okay. I love that movie.
Yeah,
I love that movie. Do you? Okay, so these movies are actually they remakes,
right? Yeah,
so the originals.
Yeah.
So the originals, man, like, I'm actually in the process right now, like, revisiting the originals.
Watching the original.
Yeah.
All of them?
Yeah.
Like, the whole series is remade?
I'm going through.
No, I'm asking, like, it was a series. The series now was remade off a series back then.
But they've changed up a lot of elements from then to now. It's almost like it's more grounded in reality today.
Right. Technology and all of that.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, not
modern. It's more modern.
Yeah. When I say grounded, I mean like realistic in comparison to like the actual book that came out and the movie that came out in the 60s.
Right.
The first one on up until whenever it stopped the first time. But like, it just got me to thinking, man, like you take something like apes.
Mm-hmm.
And again, if you experiment and you play around, like what we've done for so long, we very curious, bro. Curious beings. We just are naturally. And like we always, like we've been trying to clone something for the longest. That also. Cloning? That bothers me too.
I don't think the cloning is gonna work though, because we got consciousness. You know what I'm saying? We got a subconscious. We got feelings. We got emotions. It's like, man, look, you can get the mechanical part, like just lift this, go over here, work this, do this. But I don't think you're gonna get the actual being of a human, because we got a soul. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no way you can recreate a soul.
But my question would be, and I don't know, maybe somebody up under the sound of my voice about to hear what I'm about to say and say, yo, that'd be a dope movie.
What's up?
Say that we as people, we took and we mastered the art of cloning.
Right.
And let's just say, like you say, it's the shell. But let's just say we also mastered something else. We created something else.
Like a whole nother race.
Let's say that we created and perfected AI, and then AI decided, you know what, I'm gonna dive into a clone.
Oh, like give the AI an actual physical body. Hey man, you know what I'm saying? That would be super interesting. That would be a dope movie. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I thought you were like in real life. I was about to say, but that's terrifying. Yeah, like. Yeah, see, just
I think it's a movie, man. It's a movie out like that though.
But
let me see. It's
just that fast, man. I might have just came up with a movie.
It was a dope movie, man. It was like, well, they made these clones. This dude was trying to get it perfect, but he can never like super master it completely. I don't know what it's called, but anyway, man, we gotta wrap this up.
Yeah. I'm ready.
But yeah, this is a dope conversation, man. We could talk about like hours on this, man, because this will be dope. It's a Real Talk podcast, man. If you enjoyed anything we said, if you resonated with something, if you're on one of our sides, you know what I'm saying? You for technology, you against technology, you like it, but you want to put parameters on it, man.
That's all I'm saying.
Like, share, comment, man. Share with a friend, share with a family member. Keep coming back, man. Every Thursday we post a new episode. Real Talk podcast. Peace, man.
Real talk.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, or if you want to check out more of our content, please visit our social media platforms linked in the description of this episode. You can also check us out each week where we drop a new episode every single Thursday. So don't forget, like, share, comment, and thanks again for listening. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.